Yo,
Yo,
what's up? What's up?
what's going on, man?
Man, got some things I want to get off my chest, man.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we, hey, whatever you want to start with, man. I know we talking
Okay,
about Dion and Brittany today, right?
all right. So we'll do a quick introduction. I'm Carlos from Let's Talk. You are
Hey, I'm Pernell. Peas Corner, YouTube. Feel me? Look me up, Pernell Clayton. You know.
all right. So today we're gonna be discussing talking about Neon Dion and his the way he left Jackson State, and then we're gonna get into some Miss Brittany Griner and her returning home from Russia and the political and economic impact that all these things are having on sports. So, do you want to start and then I'll chime in, or do you want me to start and you chime in?
Uh, uh you go ahead. Start it off
All
this
right.
time.
So, kind of for the audience, everybody knows that I saw your video because I subscribed to you, and one of the things you talked about was how Dion was making a lot of money for that university, but he was giving it back. And he was keeping money local and essentially recirculation of cash flow, right? That's your big thing, right? He's not a sellout, according to you, because he's recirculating cash and he's keeping black athletes, making money and getting a college education at the same time. Am I right? Is that the direction you were going?
For the most part, yeah. Well, I kind of want to talk about, I kind of brought up how, you know, for the for him to be the greatest cornerback in NFL history, he didn't make a lot of money. I mean, at
Okay.
that time, he did. It was a lot of money at that time. Talk about in the '90s and stuff. That was okay money then. That was good money then. But the man, 55 years old, got health problems. You know, and who knows what he was going through at Jackson State. I mean, yeah, he put him on the map, but he was dealing with a lot of shit
Hmm.
also. I mean, that I reckon too. So I can't really knock him for wanting to leave.
Understood.
But you go ahead, man. I'll let you go
All
ahead.
right. So, the thing for me is I totally support his idea of supporting the school that he worked for. I support, the way he did things as a coach. What rubbed me the wrong way with it, and I've gone back and forth actually with this because I can see the good, but the thing that gets me is he went and developed a rapport with these guys, and he went and recruited them, and he took them to, correct me if I'm wrong, two conference championships. Correct? Was it two
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah.
in his 2 years? Which is, I mean, for anybody, that's incredible to have a staff that's at that level to where you can come in and turn a program around within a year and win a championship and then win another championship. But now those guys are going to be juniors and he's gone. For me, I would be like, bro, like, I'm just a stepping stone to you. You went and you gave me all these high hopes and you gave me two championships. But now here we are in my junior year. I'm maybe 5'10, maybe 180 pounds, just not big enough to move into that Division One. And now I run the risk of going from the top to the bottom. And then you turn around and you leave that organization and you come to Colorado and you said, I'm bringing luggage. So all them dudes, those players ain't the reason why the program was bad. Let's be honest. You can't blame the players if it's a bad program. It's the coaching staff, it's the athletics department, it's probably the president of the university and how they approach sports.
Talking about
So you,
Colorado?
Yeah. So you sitting there and you telling all these guys that have worked 12, 14 years of their life to get where they're at. And guess what? Bye. It's a business. I get it. Universities are a business. But for me, that doesn't sit well. I totally get it. You know, his concept of terminate and elevate. He's got to do his job. What's that?
I don't agree with that. What he said, either terminated or elevated. I don't agree with that. But you go ahead.
So that's where I'm at with him. I'm like, it's hard for me to look at him and be like, bro, you went and did all those things for all those guys. And now you just done turned around and walked away. I mean, his own son was upset with him. So how do you think the rest of the team felt? What's your take on
that? Well, as much as I support Deion Sanders, what I didn't agree with him saying was you either terminated or elevated. Uh, I think for most of coaches, that's maybe the case. But come on, man. If you're a great coach, you're a great coach, and they're gonna keep you. You know,
exactly?
Mike
Exactly.
Krzyzewski, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's so many I can't think of all of them up top, but it's so many great coaches that Coach Dean Smith,
Mm-hmm.
those dudes,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
have a program. What's the dude down in Alabama? Nick Saban. I mean, if you're a great coach, you're a great coach,
He
man.
ain't going nowhere, man. He didn't
Yeah,
make the playoffs this year. But guess what? Alabama ain't gonna let him go.
no, Alabama ain't gonna let him go, man. Nick Saban commits to playoffs for the next 2 seasons, and he still ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just smoke and mirrors with him saying that. But where I side with Deion Sanders on is number one, the money. I mean, he made the song "Must Be the Money," and to a degree, I agree with him. I mean, come on, man. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was making 500,000 a year, and he was donating 150,000 back to the university. Okay, now he's going to a job making $5 million a year. So he's wrong for passing up a job that's going to pay him $5 million a year when he's getting paid about 350,000 a year. You know, if it's something, a motivational speech that you have to tell your players is that, son, you're gonna have to make tough decisions. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to make a decision that's best for you and your family. And if I was a kid, yeah, I'll be in my feelings that he's leaving. But at the same time, you gotta understand this black man gotta get paid. You know what I'm saying? Then you hear about how they were stealing out of his locker room, and then I heard a story about how some of his NFL homies was helping on the university. You know, they got him a new locker room. They got him a new a facility. Some facilities was new. Um, I think Michael Strahan was buying them dudes suits and stuff. You know, I mean, he did his part, and these fake Negroes in the black community that got the nerves to say Deion Sanders sold out. I bet any money half of them niggas ain't did a fourth of what Deion did for Jackson State. So, and then I think he signed like a 3-year contract. He fulfilled it. Okay, he
Okay.
fulfilled his contract. Okay, so he didn't do nothing wrong but go and put Jackson State on the map. And at the end of the day, he boosted their clout and they boosted
Mm-hmm.
his clout.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it wasn't no way that Jackson State could afford to pay him $5 million a year. You know what I'm saying? So again, and he even said it. He said I saw an interview with him like long before this. I think it was like a year ago or something, where he said, if another college came to him with a lucrative contract offer, he wouldn't have a choice but to at least that option,
Mm.
and he did.
Right, right.
And like I said, he deserves it. He deserves his flowers. You know, aside from from the what is that when you sign like Nike shoe deals and stuff?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
aside
right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, aside from all of that money, he only made $33 million in his NFL career. That's peanuts. Like in today's age, money ain't like it used to be back in the '90s. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? So I'm not mad at him at all. And for a player to feel some type of way about him leaving, you know, hey, they gonna get another coach. And as a player, the coach is supposed to lead you in the right direction. And from what I understand, the coach that he left was somebody that Dion trusted. You know, get behind that coach, and each of those players should be motivated to do exactly what Deion Sanders did: elevate.
So you bring up some great points. You bring up some, um, but doesn't loyalty kind of play a part in any of this? When you develop rapport, don't you kind of, as a person, don't you say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna come play for you," and then you walk out, and be like, "I could have gotten a better deal with somebody else, but now I'm stuck with this guy at a smaller school with maybe no, with getting less money and maybe a weaker education because you chose to go to Dion rather than going to maybe a Power Five school." Because now all those guys that weren't good enough to play Power Five, they got to hit transfer portal if they want to move up to that level, elevate, as you say, or as he said. So now, college players' careers die in transfer portal. A lot of careers die there. That's a graveyard for a lot of guys. So, he put, I get it. It's about getting paid and it's about getting what you deserve for what you've done. But at the same time, did he really help those guys? Or did he just make it that much harder for them to get what they should get? Because let's be honest, who's going to go to Jackson for pro day? How many guys went out to pro day for him the 3 years he was there? There was he called out the teams that I don't remember all the names of the teams that didn't show up, but he called them out by name. So now he's not there to defend those players. So they have a couple options: play, get your degree, do what you do. Maybe you get one or two school or professional teams that come out to pro day, or you hit transfer portal, and maybe nobody picks you up. Is Jackson State a school that is known to develop guys and then push them on to bigger universities? I don't know that. I didn't look it up. I can tell you from experience, UTEP is known for that in a lot of sports. A lot of guys get really good at UTEP, and then they go at Arizona University or University of New Mexico. They're going to the bigger schools because they developed the skill with little old UTEP. Is Jackson in that position? Maybe this new coach puts him in that position, hopefully for those players. But now I see those players as just flapping in the wind. And that doesn't help nobody elevate. But it makes him look good because he's behind the cameras. And we know Dion loves the spotlight. So how much of this is him feeding his ego also?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, yeah, we can talk about his ego and how he loves the cameras, but look at what the man did.
Correct. And
Okay.
nobody's disputing that.
Okay,
There's no
he
dispute that.
and if we're gonna talk about loyalty, in my opinion, there's no greater loyalty than sacrificing a portion of your salary to a cause that you believe in.
Absolutely.
And that is
No
what he
dispute that.
did.
He
Okay.
did do that.
He
All I'm doing is I'm raising all these extra questions.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did his thing, man. But I really want to get on this Brittany Griner.
Let's go ahead and let's move into Brittany Griner because I done raised my perspective on this, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "Well, what does he know? He's a nobody. He doesn't know." I'm going to get that on my end of the conversation because I already expect that, but I'm cool with it.
See,
But let's get into this Griner if you don't mind.
see, I figured you would think about it and let it marinate because I know I did. The
I'll let
first
you
thing
start off this.
the first thing that came to mind when they said Brittany Griner was exchanged for the Victor Bout, I said to myself, "Can I cuss? Can we cuss?"
Sure. What's the worst thing you're going to do? Bleep us out? I mean,
Okay.
I'm uploading it, so it's
Yeah.
whatever. I'm sure.
Okay. So first thing I said was, "What the entire fuck?" Like, you exchange somebody who was a terrorizer on the basketball court for somebody who was a terrorizer to the world. You know, and in between Putin, who knows what information he got access to when Trump was in office. In between that and who knows what his intentions are with Victor Bout. That's not a good combination to me.
Okay.
And then I think it's complete malarkey and it's bullshit. I'm glad that she's home. She shouldn't have never been locked up. Um, but then again, she did break the law over there,
Hmm.
you know. But at the same time, you look at what she did versus what the guy Victor Bout did, and it's like there's no comparison, really.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm
Right. Right.
saying? I mean, this dude is, you know, from what I hear, he's caused a lot of death.
Yeah, they call him the Merchant of Death
The
because
merchant of death. Like,
he's
come
an
on, man.
illegal arms dealer.
And you talking about he's an arms dealer and he's the merchant of death in exchange for a damn 6'7" basketball playing woman.
Yeah.
Like, there's no comparison with that, and I didn't like how that turned out at all.
Right.
Uh, and what it goes to show for me is just how much America is on the cusp of not being a superpower anymore. Like, the negotiating that went down with that, I mean, I don't know what all went into that, but it I just didn't like it. But like I
Okay.
said, I'm glad that Brittany Griner is home at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So first off, I'm happy that she's home. Also, never like to see Americans get arrested and imprisoned due to political nonsense. But as I was thinking about this earlier, I was thinking that's just how much sports, politics, and money are so intertwined with one another that you can't take one out without affecting the other two. And so, do I agree with her getting arrested? No. I think it was essentially Putin saying, well, you know what? You're doing all these things in Europe. And so this is our way of getting back at you. It's tiny in comparison, but it's like a tit for tat. Um, But the way I see it is, if you take away their ability to use her as a bargaining chip, then you've taken away. There's nothing for them to bargain with us anymore. Look, we gave you dude back. We'll get him again. That's a fact. I mean, we got Bin Laden, and he was living essentially Pakistan's West Point. Can you imagine somebody coming into our West Point and assassinating somebody? Let's put it into perspective. We went into the Pakistani West Point essentially and assassinated somebody and walked away. We know where dude's at. We'll find him again. We'll kill him or we'll capture him again. So
Sure
to
about
me,
that?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, if he's in Russia now,
Okay, maybe
no.
maybe he stays in Russia for a few years. He'll leave the country eventually because he's going to get back to dealing arms.
I don't know. I mean, if he falls under the leadership of Putin, and Putin figure out a way to use him, and that's a safe haven over there for him in Russia. I don't know.
Yeah, but let's be real. How many of come on, man. We probably touch people every day or know the location of dudes every day through all of our various means of intelligence. I don't think he's going to be a non-factor, but he's definitely not going to have the same impact that he did before. And we don't know how much information we pulled from him either.
No, but okay, so let me ask you this. Do you honestly feel like the Cold War ever ended?
I think it took a short break. I think it took more of a timeout than anything else. And I think it's kind of re-elevated itself. But, Brittany Griner's imprisonment was a strictly political move. And let's be honest, we just had the midterm elections. So there is a political aspect to getting her home for the current administration. So there's a lot of things that are going into this, So it's not as simple as, national security or, money or what have you. They're all intermingled. And at the end of the day, it's you can't pull them apart from each other. And that's what I see with this situation. I think it's just proven to everybody that you can't have two out of the three. It's almost a trifecta.
Okay. Man, we already been on here 31 minutes.
Almost.
Mm.
No, we got some deep subjects, man. We got things that and then kind of jumping back. I'm gonna jump back real quick. The Deion thing, this just popped in my mind. I was thinking about it earlier. Is how many young coaches coming out of the pros are going to take his model and bounce around and try to rebuild programs and leave a lot of kids out there?
Want to go outside? Uh-oh. Yeah, my dog has to go outside, man.
All right.
Sorry about that. Now, what are you saying? Now, let's finish this up.
So, bouncing back to the first conversation situation with Deion, how many pros that are leaving the NFL are going to take his model and are going to do short contracts and create that similar environment of coaches bouncing from one location to another location, trying to get a little bit more money, trying to do what they do best? To me, I feel like it's going to create, if they follow that model, it's going to create an unstable college football environment.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think there's going to be a lot of stability at Jackson State after Deion, leaves.
Right.
But then again, most college football programs don't have a sense of stability.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, when you're talking about money, and it, it's a business,
It
no
is.
matter where.
That it is.
So I mean, like I said, I just think that at the end of the day, Deion Sanders is 55 years old. He got a family. He got a woman. She probably fine, whatever, and he got to get him some money.
Absolutely.
And 350,000 a year might be good for me and you, but you talking about Deion Sanders.
Right, right,
You know what I'm saying? So he need his money. And I'm not mad at
right,
him at all for getting his money because at the end of the day, it must be the money.
right, right. Absolutely.
Let him
I
get
think
your
it's
money, man.
I think it's absolutely about getting yours. But kind of my last note to clear that up, I'm gonna end it with this: is I think there also needs to be a little bit of loyalty to the players too. If you're gonna recruit them as freshmen, see them all the way through. Give them 4 years, boom, and let everybody know, hey, when you're graduating, when you guys graduate, I'm leaving with you. So that way, the younger guys that are coming up already know, coach ain't gonna be here. We're gonna have to work for somebody new. And I'm gonna end it on that as far as that thing with Dion goes. And kind of my last closing thought on Griner is I foresee more of that happening
Or what?
with more of these little ticky tack arrests happening in foreign countries to American citizens because some of our country's enemies are going to seem to think that that's a way to negotiate.
And also, yeah, right. And the thing about it is that how strong do you think that makes America look when we exchange an arms dealer prisoner that we had of theirs for one of our basketball players?
Mm-hmm.
If you're another country that don't like America, how does that look?
Well, I'll tell you this. That's the 82nd Airborne, how it looks. That's
So
the
what?
first armored. That's the 82nd Airborne, how that looks. Ask the first Armored Division how that looks. Ask the 101st Airborne how that looks. Ask 3rd Infantry how that looks. I guarantee you, they will show what we haven't lost our touch. We are still the mightiest military in the world, and that's a
Yeah.
fact. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much of us being weak. I think it's a negotiating tactic that a lot of our countries, our enemies, will try to use against us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been said that, what I'm saying? Um, when it comes to fighting and wars and stuff, America by far leads the pack around the world because we have
Mm-hmm.
all the experience. You know what I'm saying? America has all the experience as far as that goes.
Right.
But um, I mean, then you see like how with Russia, they having a hard time with Ukraine.
Right.
Who's to show that Victor Bout might come and start to change the dynamics in that?
Well, he's an arms dealer. He's not a general. He gets you more
Yeah,
weapons. He's not the type of guy. He's not he makes money off of selling weapons. He doesn't make money off of tactics and things like that. So I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. But he can sell weapons to other countries and other organizations that don't like us.
yeah. And on that note, I say this is a pretty good first podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll definitely get into this more. And for those of you that are watching, we will definitely get technologically more advanced as we get better at this. So,
Yeah.
as always, this is Carlos at Let's Talk. Talk to me and I'll talk back.
Yep. This is Pernell Clayton, Peace Corner. Check me out. Hey, and you just been put in the know.
There you go. All
All
right.
right.
I'm going to end this call.
All right. Now, see you later,
All
boss.
right. See you.
Yep.